Hey everybody, I'm Howard Garros. As you know, I review horror movies. I'm here with my co-reviewers and the guys who keep me safe if I feel scared. There's Daisy, and where are you over there? And there's Pony. Hey, big guy. What are you doing, hon? Obviously, they are a little frightened themselves today because I saw a movie I thought was pretty darn scary. It's called Smile, and I really like this movie. I found it frightening, and I'll tell you why. What it did right from the start, it established an unreliable narrator. You literally don't know what's real and what's not, and because of that, you in the audience never feel safe. You never know if the person she's talking to is just going to whip out one of those nasty smiles or do something freaky. I've heard some criticisms of this movie for having a lot of jump scares, but that is the premise. You never feel safe watching this movie. And what more can you want from a horror movie? And I have to give double props because it really has something to say about trauma and how trauma begets trauma. And because that's the premise of the movie, is that you see a traumatic event and then the creature that caused it latches onto you and then tortures and haunts you. He's a total dick until he then kills you in front of someone else, creating the trauma that they now feel. And the trauma, monster, whatever you want to call it, latches onto them. And trauma is like that. I work in the field where there is a lot of trauma, and it's sad how it's just true. So I really enjoyed this movie. I think her name is Sophie Bacon. Kevin Bacon's daughter is the star, and she is phenomenal. She's fantastic. She's in every scene, and she crushes this movie. I really, really like this movie. Now, I do have to say that I went into work next day, and I spoke to my work buddies, John and Ian, and I told them this. And they were a little less enthusiastic about the movie, but then we discussed, and they brought up two flaws, which I cannot deny. It's a little too long. It is I don't want to call it like the idea like a one joke movie, a one scare thing, and it gets repeated throughout, and every time it's repeated, it does lose a little bit of its oomph. So I think the filmmaker, the editor, I think they were in love with the movie a little too much, and they should have cut about 15 minutes from it. And then the ending itself was probably the weakest thing in the movie. And when you're making a film, you got to start strong, you got to end strong, because you walk out of that theater and what you remember is the end. And if the movie starts lagging at the end, that's sometimes what lingers with you. And that was their point. So I can't disagree with them. As I'm on the subject of them, I just got to give a quick shout out to my buddy John. Everybody needs a buddy like John when it comes to horror movies. He's the guy, whether it's because the algorithm suggested to him, he seeks them out, something strikes him as interesting. He finds horror movies that I never heard of. That Norwegian horror film, Cadaver, I saw earlier this month, I got from him. He suggested it. And I never would have heard of this movie. So everybody, that loves horror, they need that buddy. They need their friend John, the guy who's going to be like, oh, you ever heard of this one? And it's a movie you never heard of, and you check it out, and it's worthwhile. So he deserves some props for that. Back to Smile. I strongly recommend this one. I thought it was scary. I thought it was intense. I thought the acting was fantastic. I thought it was no PG-13-itis for this one. It's got some good, nasty kills. The opening scene is terrifying. I know people are like, oh, horror movies don't really scare me anymore. And I realize that, it's not like when we were kids and you really live in this world of imagination. These movies keep you awake at night. But this one, if you let it go with the story, go with her. It's creepy, it's scary, it's well done. I know it was supposed to be made for streaming, and it blew some test audiences away, and they said, we got to release this in the theater, and it was a big hit, and they're making a sequel. So I'm not the only one who feels this way. This is a good movie. Give it a watch, and then enjoy. All right, well, thank you. Thanks for listening. As always, I want to thank my co-reviewers. Are you up there, Daisy? Yeah, Daisy's feeling. How you doing, sweet girl? Yep. Yeah, it's my girl. And Pony over there is like, I was scared. I just want to be left alone. I can't even find you in the blanket. Hello, Pony. There you go. All right. As always, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and a great October.